But what sort of plan do they have for prototype? We obviously don't know that at the moment, but if I could guess, then there might be an announcement for a new prototype game around next year. And that's my prediction, okay? We will get Prototype 1 remake / remaster, or at least an announcement of it in work in 2024. You heard it here, folks. It's going to happen. I can feel it, guys. In 2024. 2024.
2024.
Jesus Christ, great.
Hi everyone and welcome back. How are you guys doing today? So during the time I was gone, a lot of interesting stuff has happened. First is Microsoft with their Xbox showcase, then a dude who faked his cancer, and of course, Chum almost getting assassinated.
Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit!
But I believe no one here would give a fuck about politics or some shitty YouTube dramas, right? We are gamers and gaming is all we care about, so let's get right to it. As you all know, Microsoft recently held a showcase which featured tons of new and exciting upcoming games. The show was well received and regarded by many as one of the best showcases of all time. I, however, don't share the same opinion as these people. Sure, the show was good, but it's not that good, you know? The main and obvious reason for it is there wasn't any mention of prototype in the whole fucking show, which really pisses me off. I'll discuss in a minute. Another reason is there weren't many games in the showcase that truly piqued my interest, to be honest, and I'm a pretty diverse kind of gamer myself. Some of you may think all I ever play in my life are prototype games, but I actually play a wide variety of genres out there. Action open world RPG, first person shooter, hack and slash, beat 'em up, fighting game, card game, turn-based tactics, even some weird shit like life simulation for example, and much more. So when I say there weren't many games in the showcase that interested me, I didn't just pull it out my ass or anything. Also, there were some other games that, how do I say this?
It's the biggest piece of dog shit.
Yup, big pile of dog shit. Honestly, these games, they just kind of make the whole show much shittier for me. And you know what? Since we're in this topic, let's do a quick review on some of the games that appear in this showcase right now. And yes, I know I'm pretty late on this already, but fuck it, I'm gonna do it anyway. We started with good stuff, games that I like and want to play. I think the majority of you can agree when I say the biggest and most anticipated game of all was literally the one at the beginning of the show. It's Doom: The Dark Ages.
What? What the fuck?
I'm personally very surprised about the fact that we're getting blessed with another Doom title, because prior to this being dropped, I always thought, how the fuck they're gonna make a new Doom game that can top Doom Eternal? Then after I saw the Captain America Chainsaw Shield, I was like, of course, obviously that's how we're gonna top it. Why didn't I think of it sooner? And when they showed me the mech suit and the dragon, I just went, okay, you got me. You got me, Doom. Somehow they managed to take all the madness in the last two games and die to 11 in this one, which is impressive to say the least. And what makes me happy the most is after all the cringe shit that's happening at Microsoft in recent time, this game and the franchise as a whole for some reason still haven't gotten infested with a cancer known as DEI. I really don't know how id Software was able to convince Microsoft to keep it out of their games, but I'm glad that they did, and I hope it will stay this way forever. Overall, great gameplay, amazing soundtrack, and badass main character. Looking forward to this one.
Remember, demon can be an offensive term. Refer to them as mortally challenged.
The next game on my favorite list goes by the name of Expedition 33. A bit of a backstory here. So after seeing the trailer, a lot of people have compared this game to those older titles from the Final Fantasy franchise, saying how closely resembled it is to them, which is true, I'm not gonna lie. But to me, it reminds me more of a game I played from 11 plus years ago. Its name is Chaos Rings 2. Has anyone here ever heard of it before? For those who don't know, it's a mobile RPG game that surprisingly enough was also published by Square Enix, but they didn't make this one themselves like the other Final Fantasy titles. When I look at Expedition 33, I can see many resemblances to Chaos Rings 2. Turn-based combat, hideous looking enemies, super dark and depressing story, and incredibly good soundtrack. However, my interest with this game doesn't stop with it being similar to Chaos Rings 2, as I also like its art style quite a lot. They went for a realistic look, but added in some fictional elements and made it feel unique. It may or may not be your cup of tea, but one thing you have to admit is this game actually have decent looking woman characters, unlike some other games I'll show you shortly after. Gameplay wise, they didn't give us much, but it just seems pretty fun from all the footage I've seen. Perhaps there will be more info about it in the coming months, we'll see. The story is also very interesting. The concept of people getting dust at a certain age is intriguing to me, though there is one tiny little detail I need some clarification on. If the pain trees reduce the number to 33 and everyone at this age gets dusted, does it also mean those who are an even number of age, like 32, 30, 28 and so on will survive all future events? Like if you're 32 right now and turn 33 next year, you will not get dusted, because the pain trees has counted down to 32 already, hasn't she? Isn't that technically how it works? Maybe I just read too much into this and the story isn't even that complex, to be honest. Anyway, that's Expedition 33 everyone, coming out 2025 next year. The third game I'd like to mention on the list is Mecha Break. There's not much to say about this one. It looks good, the combat is interesting, and even has hot chicks piloting these mechs too. Seems like a classic case of a mindless fun game to me. Although I'm not sure if Mecha Break will be a major success upon its release, what I'm sure of is this game has given me the urge to go out and finally buy a Gundam model kit for the first time ever. I always want to get one of these before, I just couldn't bring myself to do it. Too many options to choose from, you know. This game however has brought some insights on which kit I should get now. Really? Which kit are you planning to buy? I have no fucking idea.
So that was a fucking lie.
We'll now go to the fourth and last game on my favorite list. This one may piss some people off, but I'll name it anyway. It's Fragpunk. Pretty controversial pick, I know, but the reason I choose it isn't only because of the game itself, but also because I've never played a hero shooter before, and I feel like this might be the one I decide to play. What? You never play a hero shooter game? You've never heard of Overwatch before? Oh, I do know about Overwatch. It has some of the best animation scenes I've ever experienced. I personally like all the stuff that has Mercy in it. Widowmaker is also good too. Tracer? Tracer is alright. And of course, who can forget about Diva? Bro, I love watching this one particular scene of her where she got... You're talking about the game, right? What game? Wait, what's that? Overwatch is a video game? Fuck off, it's not a video game. It's animated Wait, what? Overwatch is a video game? And there are two of them? Hey yo, what the fuck? Okay, all jokes aside, I genuinely do like Fragpunk. It has great aesthetics, the gameplay is fun with sick animation. I like this. And the biggest pro of all, it is not Concord. Man, fuck Concord. What a waste of money and manpower that game is. Fucking worthless piece of shit.
Fucking useless sack of shit! Get out!
So overall, Fragpunk looks pretty solid. Can't wait to try it out. Though one thing I will say is that I really hope this game won't turn out to be a failure. Because if it does, you know damn well some people out there are gonna be like, Fragpunk, more like fat junk, am I right? Alright, let's move on to the next list. This one consists of games that were fairly decent, but for whatever reason didn't bring enough excitement for me to want to play them. We start with a big one, Gears of War E-Day. I gotta admit, prior to its trailer, I honestly thought what they were showing us was gonna be prototype. They've got this red tin color in the background when the world premiere thing came up, and I was so sure it was it. But after they showed this dude's face on the screen, I was so disappointed and figured out right away that it wasn't prototype. Am I the only one who thought like this? Anyway, I know there are a lot of people who love this franchise, I'm just not one of them. Also, there was no gameplay footage in the trailer, so we don't know how it's gonna play out. Are they gonna be able to bring back the attention to detail like the older Gears games? Are they gonna tone everything the fuck down like in Gears 5? That remains to be seen. Of course, if E-Day managed to live up to its hype, then I'll be sure to check it out. If not, then I'll probably just forget about it. For now though, I'll remain skeptical and wait for more info of this game in the future. The next game on the list is Avowed. So when the first trailer of Avowed came out, I have had high hope for it. The game looked next gen, and we might finally have something that could compete with the Elder Scrolls franchise. Unfortunately though, the current product doesn't look anything close to it. The game now looks more like a slightly prettier version of Elder Scrolls Online with a bunch of oversaturated colors slapped on it. It just feels kinda cheap to me. And even though the gameplay is fine for the most part, the third person mode, a feature that people have wanted to know more of, hasn't been addressed much by the devs. Plus the game recently got delayed until next year, which is never a good sign. I'm afraid what's going to happen with this game is that it will just become another case like The Outer Worlds, you know. Decent game, but nothing too special about it, and people will forget about its existence after a year or so. Right now, I don't have much confidence with Valve. Unless they give us dedicated mod support for this game or something, I don't think it's gonna last for too long, to be honest. The third game on our list is Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Looks pretty good, but too much cutscenes and not enough gameplay being shown. So I'm a bit skeptical on this one. But I mean, the game is directed by God Howard, so you know it's gotta be good, right?
16 times the detail.
One positive thing I can say is this game seems to respect Indiana Jones and his legacy, unlike that shit kind of a movie. So yeah, perhaps I consider getting it whenever it comes out.
Choo choo, choo choo. Ha 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 ha.
Next up, we have Wu Chang Fallen Feathers. I'll be blunt here. The game itself is fine, alright? It looks great, the world setting is interesting, and the gameplay seems fun. The only thing I'd like to ask here is, how many more of these Souls-like games are you devs going to make? A lot of people love to make fun of Fragpunk and said, "Oh great, another hero shooter game, how original." Yeah, have you guys seen what's happening with the Souls genre? How many Souls games have been released in the past years alone? Like 50 of them? This is like zombie genre all over again. We have OG Dark Souls, then Dark Souls with guns, Dark Souls with katana, Dark Souls with anime, Dark Souls with Dante, and now we have Dark Souls with waifu. Like how many more of these, and how much more rich and broken controllers until this trend is finally done for? I guess I'll never know. But here's a question, am I going to play Wu Chang? Maybe. I like the protagonist at least, she's very attractive, I'll give him that. I'd say if there's a system where whenever she takes a lot of damage, parts of her armor will start to break until, you know, then I would consider checking out the game. If not, then I probably would skip it. I just don't want to lose my sanity over these kind of games. Totally not worth it in my opinion. The fifth game on our list is Stalker 2, Heart of Chernobyl. A superb looking game. In fact, I barely saw anyone talking shit about it, aside from a few who complained about a certain character in the trailer. This one to be precise, and I quote, "Why is there a black person in this place? It doesn't make any sense." I mean, I don't fucking know how he's there. I guess originally he was white, but the radiation turned his skin darker or some shit. Kinda like what happened to Michael Jackson but in reverse.
That's fucked up!
Anyway, the only reason I didn't have much hype for this game is because of my own experience with this genre. A few years ago I played a game called Metro 2033, which has a similar setting to this one. That game didn't impress me much, as it came with a bunch of issues of its own. Confusing level design, inconsistent enemies AI, bad stealth, average story, and it can get pretty dark sometimes. Pretty dark? Really? So you don't like the game because you're afraid of the dark? What are you, a pussy or something? No, I'm not afraid of the dark. What are you talking about? I'm just saying there are some levels that can be difficult to navigate around. I'll give you an example. There's this level called the light.
Fuck that! You pussy! I'm not a pussy! You pussy! I'm not a pussy! Come on, I'm not a pussy!
But you know, I heard a lot of people have said that the Stalker franchise is like Metro on steroids, so I'm not sure. Maybe I should keep an open mind and give this one a go instead. For the last game on the list, we have Metal Gear Solid Delta. Wait, or is it Metal Gear Solid Triangle? Whatever, I don't know exactly what the fuck its name is. Like the previous two, there doesn't seem to be anything wrong with this game. The only issue I have here is, with the absence of Hideo Kojima, I just don't have enough faith for the Metal Gear franchise as a whole. And I know the fans are going to defend it by saying, "It's a remake, what could possibly go wrong?" Yeah, well, it's Konami, guys. Can you really trust these motherfuckers to do a good job? I mean, have you guys already forgotten about Metal Gear Survive? Granted, if the game turns out to be amazing, I for sure will be playing it. But even if that's the case, what's Konami gonna do with this franchise moving forward? Do they ever plan on making brand new games in the future or just remaking old titles? I myself would like them to do Metal Gear Rising 2 if that's cool. I know it's a bit of a tall order, mainly because of the soundtrack, as I don't think they will ever be able to top the music from the first game. But it could be a great way to bring back the franchise without touching the mainline entry. And again, it's Konami, so perhaps it's not a good idea to expect anything from this company to begin with.
Like I said, keep your crew, Jack. And I love miners. Yeah.
Now, before we move on to the shit list, real quick, I want to throw in some honorable mentions here. These are games that may be good or great even, but I have no desire playing them for various reasons. Number 1. Age of Mythology Retold. I understand a lot of you are really hyped for this one, but I fucking suck at RTS, so sadly I'll have to skip it. Sorry guys. Number 2, Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. I don't have enough money to build a full flight setup, therefore I won't be playing this one. And no, I'm not gonna play with mouse and keyboard, okay? That's gay as shit, man. Who the fuck would wanna do that? Number 3, State of Decay 3. Oh great, another goddamn fucking zombie game. Sorry, but I'm good with Left 4 Dead 2 for now. Thank you very much. And finally, number 4, Call of Duty Black Ops 6. It's literally the same games every year, they just change the name and give it a slightly different coat of paint. So what is there to be hype about? But Jeff, they said they're gonna add Omni movement to Black Ops 6, which will vastly change how you play the game. Ain't that exciting? Oh really? You mean that same shit they did in the Max Payne series? Wow, so fucking innovative. Do you guys want a fucking trophy for it too? Okay, look Microsoft, I get it. You just acquired Activision, and you feel the need to make a big impression by making a blockbuster game like Call of Duty, right? I get all that, so I let this one slide. But after Black Ops 6, can you guys please listen to the fans for one and not release Call of Duty every single year, then maybe bring some of those Activision IPs back? Just a quick thought. Alright, now onto the shitty stuff. First, we have Fable. How can I say this without being a total prick about it? Oh, I got it. Here we go. The new Fable looks like shit! Seriously, who the fuck is responsible for its art direction? The characters in this game are so ass, they look like a bunch of fucking inbreds, man. Wait, what did you just say? They always look goofy like that in older Fable games? Bro, the reason why it worked in those games is because they used a different art style than what they do now. Back then, when they went with this cartoonish style, it actually turned out great, since it made the characters feel unique and interesting. But when you instead try to go for a realistic style, this concept no longer works anymore. Now everyone is ranging from super uncanny to downright insulting to look at. It's so fucking bad. And of course, to top it off, the main female character has to be this hideous androgynous looking creature. I guess it's an ongoing trend in the Western gaming industry these days. Also, talking about the gameplay, there's no fucking gameplay being shown here. Like how long has this game been out to the public? About 4 years now, and we still have almost no info on how it's played. A half-ass open world mixed with some shitty QTEs? Not that it matters though. There's this saying, and I'm sure you guys have heard of it before, graphics on everything, or gameplay over graphics. My stand on it, however, is that art style beats both of them. A game doesn't always need to be graphically demanded for it to be good, but its art style needs to be eye-catching or well-made in some capacity in order for the players to care about it in the first place. Maybe it's the character design, the world building, color palettes, etc. If you fail to make a good first impression, people are not gonna stick around with your game, doesn't matter how good the gameplay is. I'm telling you, if the new Fable doesn't have a character creation for the players to go in and change all this bullshit, then this game is 100% fucked. People in general don't want to deal with this shit, not even the core fanbase want to deal with it, considering the fact that it's not even a Fable game. It doesn't look like Fable, doesn't play like Fable, the story sure as fuck has no correlation to the previous titles, they just use the IP's name to push an agenda, that's all that is. It's fucking pathetic.
This is not okay. This needs to stop now.
Okay, enough with that, let's move on to the next game. This one's called Dragon Age, The Veiled Ass. Same shit as Fable. Ugly ass characters, art style is completely changed from the previous titles, and from the look of it, the gameplay and story are probably gonna be shit too. 10 years of waiting for a new game only to be greeted with this. Totally worth the wait, right, Dragon Age fans? Also, who the fuck is behind this garbage anyway? Yep, these people of course. How typical. Well, another great IP goes down the drain I suppose. Third on the list, we have South of Midnight. I think the devs had good intention with this game at the beginning, but then Sweet Baby Inc just went in and fucked it up with that whole main character race swap and everything, so I have no hope for it whatsoever. One nice thing I would say is at least they made this game as its own thing and didn't shoehorn it in some existing IPs to try to trick the fans into buying it, unlike those previous games I've mentioned. And this is what I'm talking about. If you want to make a woke garbage game, then create a brand new IP for it. Don't try to fuck with the existing ones and people would be fine with it. But obviously most of the time they won't do that because they know the game will be dead on arrival. Well, tough shit. I suggest you guys should give up on this woke nonsense altogether and start making good games again. How's that for an idea? Next, we have Flintlock, the Seek. I'm not gonna waste my breath on this shit. It's already a massive failure upon release, just like with every other Sweet Baby Inc infested slop out there, so fuck this game. The fifth game on the list is Perfect Dark. Gameplay wise, I gotta say it seems promising to me. It's like a mixture of Deus Ex Human Revolution and Mirror's Edge of some sort. Wait, what's happening? Why is the screen turning white all of a sudden? And where's that music coming from? Oh my god, no, fuck no. Turn this shit off. Turn it off right now. Ah, damn it, I get nostalgia PTSD every time I watch that trailer, man. Sorry, where was I? You can definitely see some distinctive aspects of those games here. Hacking and stealth action from Deus Ex, and parkour and takedown movement from Mirror's Edge. Although we will know for sure how well this combination will work until we get our hands on it, first impression wise, I kinda like it. Having said that, one criticism I'll say about the gameplay is it didn't have much resemblance to the gameplay of older titles, and I'm not claiming to be a perfect Dark expert or anything, but it feels very different from what I saw in the original. I think a lot of fans of the series can agree with me on this. Of course though, if you say that the old gameplay didn't hold up with today's standard anymore and needs changes to make it better, and if the OG fans like this new gameplay, then I personally wouldn't complain much about it. And after 3.5 years of long waiting since the first Perfect Dark trailer, we finally got a first glance at our beloved protagonist, Joanna D. Okay, before anyone says anything, I want to be perfectly honest here. I know I may have gone a bit too far with that whole Fable thing there, so let me preface by saying this new Joanna doesn't look that bad, alright? Not Fable level bad at least. But still, why do you have to make her so generic looking? It's Joanna Dark for fuck's sake. Years after years of artistic refinement and this is the best you can come up with? And I'm not saying you have to treat her design like those Korean games characters, although you should, if you wanna make money. But at bare minimum give her some actual distinctive woman features, not this androgynous man jaw shit all over again. Also, here's another thing, you guys seriously need to stop this trend where you put real life people into your games, okay? First of all, you couldn't even do a good job with it, especially when it comes to female characters. Just haplessly messing up their face, uglifying it, make it more genderless so you can appeal to a certain community, in which they themselves don't even play your games. Fucking brilliant. Second of all, your face model choice sucks. And no, I'm not suggesting the face model of Joanna is ugly or anything, far from it. But just because she is a model doesn't necessarily mean she's fit to be Joanna Dark. Listen, not everyone can simply pull an Ashley Graham in Resident Evil 4 like Ella Freya can, okay? Now that is what you call a face model. If you can't at the very least get to this level, then don't even think of doing it. How about this? How about we do it the old-fashioned way? Just take the original face of Joanna, then upgrade it to today's graphic. And that's it? Can we go with that option instead? Like I said, first impression is very important. If you keep doing this kind of shit, it will drive more and more people away from buying your games. Seriously guys, how many more studios are gonna close until you can come to a realization that this is not good for your business? Is the message truly something you want to prioritize at the moment? Please, for the love of Manco, please stop this madness while you can before it's too late.
Can you help a nigga out and just stop this? Please?
And finally, we saved the best for last. Guys, let me introduce you to the hottest person in Japan right now, Yasuke. Okay, I'm gonna tell you guys a secret that you may not know about the Japanese, or dare I would say Asian people by and large. When it comes to using insult and being disrespectful towards this specific race, you can say almost anything to them and probably be able to get away with it. You can say shit like Asian women are sluts, Asian men have small penises, your Asian mom looks like an old wrinkled napkin, it doesn't matter. You can say whatever the fuck you want. You can even make fun of how Asian people always use chopstick to pick up their food, or even do that slant eyes gesture to an Asian you see on the street if you so desire, though there's a caveat for this one. You can do the slant eyes meme only if you are black. If you're white, then you for sure will get your ass blasted online for doing it. I know it's a bit unfair for you white folks out there, but we're currently living in the anti-white era, so there's nothing much we can do, I'm afraid. Point is, Asians in general are pretty tolerant when it comes to this. You could behave like the biggest dickhole to them and most wouldn't give a shit. However, there is one thing about Asian people you absolutely do not fuck with. One line you should never ever cross. What is it, you ask? It is called history and culture. Believe me when I say you don't want to disrespect this aspect of their life, as they take it very, very seriously. It's literally at the #1 spot on the list of things the Asians want to protect and preserve. If you fuck with it, they're gonna retaliate against you. It's like a monkey trying to defend its food, or a cat being protected by her kittens, or a dung beetle holding onto its ball of shit. Okay, not a great comparison, but you get my point. Apparently though, our friends at Ubisoft didn't seem to get the memo and decided to fuck with the Japanese by making this shit ass game. Now, I'm not going to talk about everything surrounding this Yasuke shit, since there are too many to list here. Stuff like how the dude was not a real samurai, how the book that's based on this dude was a total fabrication, or how the game is being investigated by the Japanese government, for example. Instead, I'll cover some of the stories and events in relation to this game that I found really amusing. First is this person. She, I assume, is a woman. She's a historian consultant for this game. Basically, everything about the world setting, the characters, or Yasuke being gay and shit, that's mostly on her. What I find funny here is this is the kind of slop she managed to come up with, despite being Japanese herself. My only guess here is either she got neglected or beat up by her parents as a child, and when she got older, she moved to America while still holding a grudge against them and was like, "I'm gonna take a giant shit on you and your country." Then she went on to create this mess. Or, the more likely scenario, she is Japanese American. She wasn't born in Japan and had no knowledge of his history and culture. But when Ubisoft looked at her resume, they just went, "Oh, she's Japanese, better hire her for our game then." And then this is the final result of it. Very unfortunate, but I digress. Anyway, what else does this woman do besides shitting on her country? Oh, she wrote a book? That's interesting. What is it about? Romantic relationships between Buddhist priests and adolescent
Ugh. Brother, ugh. What's that? What's that, brother?
Yep, has to be one of these degenerates again. No wonder why this game is fuck. Another thing I find funny is how history accurate Ubisoft claimed the game to be, but they couldn't even fully commit to it. Okay, so they found this black dude and said he was a historic figure or some shit, but then also said the other character, Naue, was a work of fiction. What? So what's the problem here, Ubisoft? You couldn't find a strong, history-accurate woman to be represented in your game? Is that what you're trying to imply? But hey, let's throw him a bone and say that was the case. Wouldn't it be better though if you instead put a real Japanese guy in place of this imaginary woman? So now if the game comes out and Yasuke becomes a laughingstock, which he will, then at least the players can have this character to fall back to. Have you ever thought about it before, you dumb fucks? Well, we couldn't do that because he would take all the spotlight away from Yasuke, and it's not aligned with the message we're trying to deliver. Alright, fine, fair enough. I guess when you're trying to push an agenda, you have to push it to the max, right? But oh no, the joke isn't end there, because after being roasted by everyone and getting the Japanese government involved, Ubisoft came out with a statement saying, "Our intention has never been to present any of our Assassin's Creed games, including Assassin's Creed Shadows, as factual representations of history or historical characters." Really? Really, Ninja? Who the fuck are you trying to lie to here? Aren't you the one who removed the crossbow in the first game due to its historical inaccuracies? We don't intend our games to be history accurate. Ninja, please, get the fuck out of here with that shit.
Fuck you, Ninja!
But do you know what's the funniest part about all of this? It's not Ubisoft being a total brain dead towards Japan's history and culture, or how they hire a bunch of activists to make their games. Hell, it's not even the existence of the game itself. It's the fact that despite all the controversies and backlash they are currently facing, the game will end up selling just fine. Perhaps even better than the last one. It's kinda like what happened between Chris Brown and Rihanna back in the day. The dude beat the living shit out of her and was under heavy scrutiny, yet his status as a singer was virtually unchanged. Albums still sold like nothing happened. I'm afraid the same thing will happen to this game. So much bullshit behind it, yet the average gamers would just go, "Meh, whatever, I'm still gonna buy the game anyway." It's almost as if whenever a new product comes out, these people will get the urge to get it no matter what. I mean, I can understand if it's a godlike game like The Witcher 3, but if it's a piece of shit like this game, why even subject yourself to it? Although I did hear some news about Ubisoft stock getting tanked badly after the announcement of this game, or how they want to have it with the pre-order numbers, I'm still very skeptical about it. So long as these gamers keep mindlessly consuming their slops, I don't think much will be changed in the near future. It's one of those gaming mysteries I may never find the answer to in my lifetime. And that concludes my review for the Xbox Showcase. Now that's a lot of games we just went through, didn't we?
Hop it a little more.
Before we finally get to the prototype topic, I'd like to talk about 2 more games that were announced after this showcase. Yes, I know the video is pretty long already, but just bear with me a little longer, we're almost there. So the first game we'll be discussing is Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster. I still remember my first impression with this franchise is from that Dead Rising 1 vs 4 video by Cropecat. Did I pronounce his name correctly? I was pretty impressed with how far ahead of time Dead Rising 1 is when compared to its successor. Way more attention to detail than 4. And when I saw all the stuff you can do to the zombies and how you can take some very interesting photos, I knew I had to get it. Unfortunately, when I really went in and played it, the game wasn't all that great. There were tons of aspects of it that I didn't enjoy, like slow character movement, bad NPCs AI, bullet sponge bosses, and so on. Fast forward to the present. Capcom recently announced they're gonna do a remaster of Dead Rising 1, which comes with lots of fixes and improvements to the original. At first I was feeling positive about it. Maybe this remaster version will be good, or so I thought. But of course, Capcom being Capcom, you know, they have to fuck it all up by dropping this giant shit on us. Ah yes, censorship and race swapping. A match made in heaven. Seriously though, the thing that baffled me the most with this is that Dead Rising is a zombie game. Do you see the amount of blood and gore there in this game? The level of violence is unprecedented, yet the biggest issue you could find is some cleavage? Really? This is such a Western problem, man. Oh yes, you can massacre everyone and paint the whole floor with blood, but see those tits over there? Those tits are unacceptable! Shut your bitch ass up! And to top it off, you have to race swap that Asian boss to this fat redneck as well, because shitting on white people is never enough these days, am I right?
You are nothing but a filthy communist.
In short, I wouldn't give this game a second chance. Didn't enjoy it that much the first time, certainly not gonna enjoy it this time around. The remaster may or may not be a better product than the original, but after the shit that Capcom pulled, I no longer want to hear anything about it ever again. Now, for the next game. Gosh, I'm so excited for this one. Guys, please say hello to Juliet Starling. I miss you, Juliet. Oh, sorry about that. Let me get back to you. There you go. All good now. So back when this game first came out, I thought it was the coolest thing ever. It looked gorgeous, the gameplay was fun, and I adore its characters. Though mostly just Juliet, to be honest. I had a huge crush on her back in the day, as you could see. Obviously though, I never got to play the actual game, because if you've been following me for a while, you would know I didn't get to own a console when I was younger. Sucks to be me, isn't it? Anyway, as kind of a coping mechanism, I went online and watched a bunch of let's play and promo videos of this game, and then I stumbled on this video.
Bill, you are absolutely right. Juliet is indeed a hottie manicotti. And because we feel so strongly about her, we've decided to include her in the special edition.
Oh, Jessica, this woman. She gave me so many flashbacks, it's insane. And not the Mirror's Edge depressing type of flashbacks, but the good type, if you know what I mean. Before she came around, I didn't have much knowledge about the cosplay culture. I didn't know what it was, I just didn't really pay attention to it. But boy oh boy, when she came hard. I think there was a short period of time in my life where I started to believe Juliet Starling was actually real because of her. That's how bad it was for me.
What can she do? Oh, anything and everything you want. Anything and everything you want. Anything and everything you want.
Well, that's my highlight of 2012 for you guys. What about yours? Did you have a great 2012? Okay, going back to this year, if you're asking, then yeah, of course I'm 100% going to play the remaster. It's a no-brainer. While I'm aware the graphics aren't that great looking, or how this is yet another goddamn fucking zombie game, it has Juliet in it, so I don't give a fuck. I'm still gonna play the shit out of it. And from what I've seen, the game's gonna be fully uncensored. Yes, they have that repop mode, but why touch it when you can play the original mode instead? The only small nitpick I have with this remaster is I wish they would have added an option for the players to customize Nick's face. I know that feature wasn't there before, but if there was one, I swear it would easily triple the sale numbers without breaking a sweat. Regardless, I wish the best for this game and hope it sells well so they could potentially give us a sequel in the future. And also I would like Jessica Nigri to come back and traumatize me all over again, please. That would be great. Alright, now that I'm done with all these game reviews, let's move on to talk about Prototype and my epic prediction from last year.
2024.
If you're new to the channel or one of those who came from the Xbox community, you may not fully understand this whole situation between Prototype and Microsoft. Therefore, what I like to do is giving you a quick recap on what was happening in the past 2 years in order to bring you guys up to speed. So as we know, Prototype was an IP originally owned by Activision. Due to the poor sales of the second game in 2012, they shut down the studio that made Prototype and put the franchise on shelf since then. However, on January 18, 2022, Microsoft came out of nowhere and announced they would purchase Activision Blizzard for a small price of almost $69 billion. This gave Prototype fans some hope because for the first time in many years, there's a slight chance for this franchise to make a comeback under the new owner. All what's left is waiting for the deal to go through and people can start dreaming again. Then, on October 13, 2023, almost 2 years later, that day finally came. Microsoft completed their acquisition of Activision Blizzard, and at the same time, they released this video on their channel to celebrate the merger. In it, they just casually drop in a quick shot of my man Alex Mercer and effectively caused a shitstorm in the Prototype community, since it showed Microsoft did have some interest to the franchise and might be even willing to bring it back. And here's the craziest part. After this little cameo, not just the fans, but suddenly now everyone wants the IP to be brought back, proven by the fact that almost all the top comments of the video were about Prototype. Even the newer comments are still talking about it. You know the rest afterwards. As for me and the intro you saw at the beginning, it's sort of a running gag on my channel, just butchering every single damn prediction I made thus far. It's kinda astonishing if you think about it. Now that we're done with the recap, let's have a quick discussion on why Prototype didn't show up in the showcase, shall we? So yeah, I managed to pull up yet another failed prediction. What a surprise, eh? Though to be fair, in my defense, I was kinda half joking when I said there's gonna be a new Prototype game released this year, because realistically speaking, there was no way Microsoft would be able to assemble a team then make a game with the amount of time they had since successfully acquiring Activision. One more thing I also fail to consider is Microsoft is trying to bring everybody's attention to their flagship Call of Duty right now, so if they announce a new Prototype this year, it would completely overshadow that game, which can't really be good, you know. Despite that, what I fully hope Microsoft would do is to have a small teaser to slowly introduce Prototype back to the players. And you don't have to do anything fancy really, just bring Alex out, let him look at the camera and say he's back or some shit. You also don't need to say what you're making either. Let the players speculate it themselves, and whenever you're almost done with the game, came out with the gameplay trailer and hype them up accordingly, then release it down the line. How cool would that be? But with Microsoft doing absolutely nothing in the showcase, it really pissed me off, because the timing couldn't be more perfect for Prototype to come back. Wanna know why? So do you guys know the release date of the first Prototype? If you don't, I'll tell you. It's June 9, 2009. Yeah, June 9. The exact same premiere date of the Xbox showcase. The perfect time for a 15 years anniversary celebration. Like to add to the teaser, you could say something like, after 15 years of waiting, our anti-hero is finally back. Okay, maybe we shouldn't say that, it sounds a bit corny, but you know, something along those lines. Just imagine everyone's reaction if it were to happen. It would be so fucking fire. But of course, Microsoft decided to do fuck all instead. How unfortunate. Alright, enough with the past, let's now set our sights on the future. Here's an interesting question. What can we expect from Microsoft in 2025? To answer it, let us look at another date. July 14, 2015. It was the release date of the Prototype Biohazard bundle, and next year will mark the 10 years of its birth. Wait. 10 years mark? 10 years anniversary? Holy fucking shit, guys! Prototype will return in 2025! Let's fucking go! Alright, I'm just messing with you guys. I'm not gonna put any more of these bullshit predictions on you again. Obviously, we can't guarantee if Microsoft is gonna do anything with Prototype in 2025, but I feel like this may be the last chance for them to make a real impact with the franchise. The longer they make people wait for a new game, the less hype it will bring. Therefore, it's important to generate people's interest as soon as you can before it starts to get stale. I don't know what the hell Microsoft is thinking in their head, but to me this is like the easiest slam dunk for them ever. Prototype's overall theme is very politically neutral, and there's almost no sexualization of female characters anywhere in the game, so they don't even have to drastically change anything from the originals. All you have to work on is to do a proper remake of Prototype 1 and 2, and when it goes well, do Prototype 3 afterwards. Then you can begin to think about expanding the universe with brand new settings and characters. And for the detail of how these remakes should be done, I already talked about it twice on my channel and will repeat it again, but for those who want to know, here's a list of everything I want to add. You can pause here to read it, or watch this to have a better understanding of each point I made on the list. Now, for this last part of the video, I'll cut down the joke and be more serious for a moment. After a bit of a shaky year for Microsoft with all the DEI controversies and studio closures, I won't lie guys, I'm starting to get a bit nervous about the revival of Prototype. And yes, I'm 100% sure they're gonna bring back the franchise, okay? That's not even up for debate anymore, as they have to be so fucking stupid not to capitalize all this hype, though how they're gonna revive it is what worries me here. If these motherfuckers somehow decide to throw all these Prototype remake and sequel ideas out and instead make a low effort, cash grab reboot, and on top of that, completely redo Alex Mercer's character and turn him into some kind of an LGTV icon, because you know, he can transform into anybody at any time, then I'll be so fucking pissed guys. That would effectively mark the end of the franchise as we know it, since nobody's gonna buy this shit. Prototype is not some too big to fail IPs like Assassin's Creed, where you can just put some gay retarded nonsense in the game and still expect it to sell well. It's not going to work. The only logical way to make a profit from this franchise with the least amount of risk is to remake 1 and 2, then do a sequel after that, in which the story will solely revolve around Alex Mercer, because everybody loves him, so. And after you're finished with his story, you can now do whatever the fuck you want in the next game. New world, new gameplay, new characters, it doesn't fucking matter. Like some of my followers have suggested the idea of having a female protagonist for example. Well good, you can totally have that in the 4th game, I'm all for it. Just not in Prototype 3 please, as we have unfinished story to tell in that one. If Microsoft managed to do right by us with the trilogy, we as fans will gladly try out the new stuff that they made. If not, I don't think there will be a bright future for Prototype. To end this video on a positive note, I recently received the news that said the entire DEI team of Microsoft has been fired, which is kinda odd I must say. On the surface, it seems like Microsoft may have realized the problem with DEI and decided to take a step back from it, but a lot of people have also speculated that they did this just to appease all the critics out there and secretly move their DEI operation internally. For me, I feel like there might be something going on here. Not just Microsoft, more and more companies have downsized or completely removed their DEI department, so there's definitely a shift happening. And even if they did this just to trick people into believing their lie, from now on, whenever Microsoft butchers one of their games, they wouldn't be able to blame the consultants anymore, because you know, they're all fired. Let's wait and see what they have in store for us in the coming years. If the next batch of games is free from the DEI cancer, then perhaps they have changed their way for real. But if they still like to be drowned in their own piss alongside with these dog shit games, then we're fucked. And the chance of Prototype getting revived is pretty much fucked too. So, we finally made it to the end. I want to thank everyone who went through this whole thing with me. I plan to make it as condensed as possible, but things got spiraled out of control when I started to review those games. Just way too much stuff to discuss, you know. And once again, I'd like to say sorry for the delay of this video. I know I should have made it around 2 months ago, but my PC just went haywire for over a month before I could use it normally again. Another thing that has happened to me is the last video I post, the one that talked about Prototype and violence, it got shadow banned by YouTube. See how many views I got in the first 16 hours, then it suddenly dropped to almost 0? That's shadow ban for you guys. I guess it's a result of shit talking to Sweet Babying and constantly using cuss words in it, so. And by that logic, this video will probably get shadow banned too, I presume. But do not worry guys, as long as you still be able to reach me and enjoy the stuff I made, I personally won't care too much about these numbers. I'm not gonna change or tone down my language just to appease the YouTube algorithm, you know. That would be pretty gay, don't you think? Before I go, as I have mentioned in the last video, my next video will be about a completely different game. If you're curious about what game that is, its name is Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel from the Yu-Gi-Oh! Franchise. If you never heard of it before, it's one of those kusuge card games where whenever you play it, you will get the urge to grab your keyboard and repeatedly smash it against your head. Very fun game. I've been wanting to make a video about it for a while now, so if you're a fan of Yu-Gi-Oh, please look forward to it. If not, I still have 1 or 2 more prototype videos I plan to do this year. I cannot promise to get them out on time though, since you're already familiar with my shitty schedule, right? But what I can promise is in 2025 I will officially release my prototype 3 ideas video that I've been saving for the past 4 years. If anyone can recall, in my first video I did say if there's still no news of prototype in 2024, I will release that video sometimes in the future, so I've decided to do it next year. When that video is done, I hope you guys will enjoy it, and hopefully it will be worth the wait for those who have been following me since day 1. Anyway, that's it for today. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.